Everybody, it's Madmaxed again with the raid video, and this is part two of the Clan Balls team on free-to-play account. At 1 keys Nightmare, at 2 keys Ultra Nightmare. Sometimes it will take 3 keys, but it's just like maybe less than a million, and you've got to get really unlucky. But like 95% of the time, it's a 2 key. And as my Great Hawk gets better, it'll get better too. But anyway, I talked about some of the characters, and I showed the runs and stuff. But to make it not so long, I'm going to go over the builds for everybody now. Now, one of the things I want to go over is Warcaller. I don't see anybody talk much about this champ. I've made a video about it, but Warcaller is by far the best allied protect champ there is. This champ will make a huge difference in Clan Boss and also in Hydra both, because I have put Warcaller in and did 20 million extra damage on normal. And just by having her in and swapping out one of the other people. Now, let's go through, let's show you why she's so good. She's so good because she does this, places a 50% allied protect buff on all allies except this champion for 3 turns, and she places a 25% champion strengthen buff on this champion for 3 turns. So she's keeping herself alive. She's keeping all of the team alive. Allied Protector is one of the best things that you can get for reducing the damage to your team and keeping your team alive. She does not do a lot of damage. I don't really care. Everybody else stays alive because of her. Usually I can run Nightmare 55, 56 rounds right now. As the Great Hall develops and you get a little bit better gear and stuff on some of these people, and I've got good gear, but you can always get better, then this will only go even further along. And usually I get anywhere between like 65 to 70 million on a lot of times on a void clan boss. And so you're doing over 10% of the damage for 1 key. And you're getting way past what you need for 1 key for Nightmare. You're almost doubling what you need. Now, the other thing that she does, she attacks all allies. She places a 25% decreased damage buff and a 50% decreased attack buff on all targets whose attack is a smart debuff. On the clan boss, she's going to do the decreased damage and the decreased attack. So it's like with Fayan, she does this too. She does decreased attack, but Warcaller does it, and it's like if one of them's down or stunned, then you always have this up. And usually, I mean, it's a smart attack, is what it is, because she also places a decreased speed and a decreased defense buff on targets whose attack is equal to or lower than their defense. So if you got a defensive guy, it's taking off the defense, it's decreasing the defense. Well, that's what their attack is based on. You got an attack guy, so it decreases attack because that's what their attack is based on. So it works well for Clan Boss, and it does some decent damage, but it's nothing incredible at all. She is HP based. She attacks one enemy, has a 45% chance to block active skills. Now, if you book this out, it would go to 60. But, I've got books I need to go into other champs, and I'm not really concerned with it. I've got a new Clan Boss team I'm fixing to build here in the next month or so that should be much better because I've got Lada now. But right now, this is the team that I've had probably for over a year. I've never hardly touched this team at all because if you're 1 key in Nightmare and you're 2 key in Ultra Nightmare, you can come back and do Brutal, but Brutal doesn't really give you anything, and I just don't even care about Brutal a lot of times. So she's in my Clan Boss team. Let me see. Arbiter's in my Clan Boss team. Why? You need a reviver because even at like 40 something, every now and then somebody's going to go down. It's going to be Ninja or it's going to be Fayan usually. Arbiter's pretty tanky. Oh, I should go over the gear and the masteries and all that too. So, so Warcaller. So what I did, I went for the masteries. I wanted it really tanky, and that's one reason it doesn't do as much damage. I did not go down the offensive line and get War Master, but I wanted it tanky. I got the resist. I got the increased amount of healing for the shield. And I have a 50% chance to remove one random debuff from this champion and lose 25%. It increases ally resist by 5 for each buff placed on them by this champion. And this champion throws the buff, so you want that. It decreases the damage an ally receives from the first enemy hit, and each round by 20%. This champ will see the damage instead. And since this is the tankiest thing you got in the whole game, it's even adding more from the Allied Protect into keeping it alive. So it goes all the way down, and I get the 50 extra resist, which doesn't really help that. It really doesn't help in clan boss, but it helps you like when I use her in Doom Tower, and I do use her in Doom Tower quite a bit. I got the accuracy line, more accuracy. I got the Swarm Smite, increase the accuracy for each enemy alive. I always take Lord of Steel when I go down this line. And the reason is because it gives that 15% to your base stat increase for your equipment. And it has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion by 1 turn. And this champ does cast all, the debuffs on it. It does, so that's what you're looking at. Also, I put stalwart gear on, and so I just made it as tanky as possible. It's got crit damage. It needs its crit rate up higher, but I got Bad L in the lead, so there's another 25% from him. So it's got 77% crit rate is what it's got. She still doesn't do a whole lot of damage, though. And she's got HP, chest, she's got a 6-star, 60%. She's got speed boots of 45%. She's got a stalwart, of course, with crit rate, HP, speed. I tried to get, you want the speed up. This is a 253 speed. With Arbiter and this speed, it's always got that debuff up. So the debuff is always up. The decreased attack's always up. So, because you're matching what the clan boss speed is for that ratio. Because it's like a 3-to-2 ratio for that skill. Because if you look, it's a 3-turn cooldown, but it only lasts 2 turns. Well, with that 250 speed and Arbiter, you always have that up. Now, of course, you look from, you have to have enough accuracy. So you look for the accuracy, the speed. I got a little crit rate, a little bit of HP there. Nothing went into the rolls, of course. But, she got a lot of speed, and that's what I looked at. And if I had not had to get her speed up so high, I would have liked to have a little bit more crit rate than what she's got, but she's not a big damage dealer. Of course, she's got an HP ring with HP subsets, and the defense doesn't hurt. Of course, luckily, nothing went into the attack because that doesn't do anything for an HP champion. The accuracy, the HP, defense, resist, it's got crit damage, and then she's got an accuracy banner. Because you got to have enough accuracy, and she's got 332 accuracy. That's enough to get you through Doom Tower hard to the very end. She would need more resist, but she got 192 resist, which is not nearly good enough for Doom Tower hard. You need the 330 for it. But with her skills, her masteries, she is a good champion. She's one of the best champions for keeping your team alive. It is. It makes it very easy if you get her. Okay, Arbiter. She just got speed gear on. All speed gear. As much speed stats I get, because she's my arena champion. So, I use her there. That's what I looked at. I've got an HP chest on her. The crit rate's there. She can do some decent damage if you build her that way. I did not build her that way. I wouldn't mind having a defensive glove on her even or something like that. But I mostly look for the speed. So she's got an HP ring on. She's got the crit damage, and then she's got accuracy on her. And, let's look at her skills. Her skills, the weaken helps. Of course, failure implies the weaken too. But, in case there's a 3% chance it can fail, so the extra weaken doesn't hurt. And plus, it helps when I get to the arena because I don't use failure in arena. The increase, she places a 50% increase attack buff on all allies, which really helps Ninja a lot. She buffs all the allies 2 turns and fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, heals all allies by 25% if their HP is below 50%. So if she reses somebody, she revives all allies with 35% HP, and then she fills all the allied turn meters by 20%. And then she gets an extra turn when it's successful. Well, then you're going to throw this usually. So that's going to get your HP back up to 60% on your champion automatically. Plus, she revs everybody with 20% turn meter, and when you apply this, it gives you another 30%. So you're getting your turn meter back to 50% when you do this. Her masteries, I actually tanked her out as much as I could. I went down the defensive line. I took the defense as much as I could. Decrease AoE attacks, has 50% chance to remove this. But I'm not going to go over all these. Max hit points 3,000. But that's what I chose. And you can see the tree, see the line, and you can copy it if you like, or you can put your own masteries in. She can actually do some decent damage, but that's not what I use her for. Now, my next champ is Bad El Khazar. Now, Bad El, his artifacts are reflex. Now, the reason I go with reflex, he's got 2 skills. So you don't have to worry about turning anything off or anything to set him up. He removes all debuffs on all ally places, 2 15% continuous heal. So he's healing everybody 30% when he places this for 2 turns. Then he places a 5%, 2 5% poison debuffs on all enemies for 2 turns. So he has reflex on, which will lower down the cooldowns. So then in his masteries, when you look at his mastery line, I've also got it where he has a 30% chance to increase the debuffs, and he has a 5% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn at the start of every turn. So, you got a 5% chance of this kicking in. You've got the chance from the reflex kicking in. So he's going to apply a lot more poisons. He's going to cleanse your guys with debuffs a lot quicker. He's going to poison a lot more. And then, of course, I go down to the offensive line. He does not hit very hard. I mean, but his hit on his A1 does heal. And, of course, I don't have him set up to hit heavy. I've got him set up to poison. I mean, he can stack poisons like crazy in dungeons and stuff. He can keep everybody alive. I mean, and that's what it's all about. I mean, once you stack those poisons up, he can literally stack up enough poisons in most of the dungeon because he has enough speed at like 128, and he really needs to be quicker. He needs about another 20 points worth of speed, but that's what I've got with this gear, and it's hard to farm like a really great set of reflex gear anyway. And I've got his HP up really high. So I really want him even faster than what I've got him. His crit rate is at 56%, but he gives 25% more. So he's at 81% crit rate. His crit damage isn't high. His resist is 208. His accuracy is at 231. And that's plenty. I mean, that's plenty for a clan boss. You get over 200 accuracy, you're good, unless you get into the wrong colors, and then sometimes it's not quite enough, but it usually works anyway. Okay, so he's got an HP set of chest piece. He's got speed boost. I want to keep him tanky. I want to keep him alive. He's got even a defense glove on him. I want to keep this boy alive. I want to keep him poisoning like crazy. Because when you start placing 10% poisons, another set of 10% poison, and they're 2 turns. So you're looking at, there's 20% of their health is gone when they take 2 turns. When he stacks up 4, there's 40% of their health. So, and he will stack and stack. I have seen him on some of the champions in some of the dungeons, I have seen him stack 6 poisons up. So that's 30%, turns. So he's took off 60% of the health by just stacking up all the poison. You just got to be tanking. You just got to live through it, and if you do, you're good to go. And so, his ring, his HP, his everything, his amulet's HP. He got the accuracy because you want the debuffs for all the poison to stick. But he's good for keeping your team alive too. I mean, plus the poison does a good bit of damage. He's actually one of my biggest damage dealers in Dragon, and I can put him with Ninja, and he still gets right up there almost with Ninja as far as the damage because he's got so much poison. But he's got so much poison because, like I said, he's only got these 2 skills, and he's got Reflex on, and he's got that reduced the cooldown, and that makes a big difference. Okay, so those are 3 of the champs that I used. The other one I have used, I'm fixing to replace Faye, and finally I've got Lada now, and I'm going to replace her with Lada because she does exactly the same thing. She does the weaken, she does the defense. If you're lucky and you pull this champ, and they gave this champ away, and I have done a couple of different videos on her, she is absolutely one of the very, very best champs you can use for clan boss. She has all the debuffs from the clan boss that you're looking for. I put the stalwart gear on her. Everybody, when they start out in clan boss, they'll think, lie still, lie still, lie still. Lie still doesn't do you any good if you're dead. You're not gonna sit down. And like after 20, he starts hitting really hard, especially with those AoEs. Well, you need that allied protect to take the damage off, but it also reduces 30% of that AoE damage by putting the stalwart gear on. So you're taking a lot less damage by doing a lot of little different things with the clan boss. And one of it is like, her skill. Even if you don't have War Collar, you look at what her skills is. The first thing you want her to do is you want her to go in and decrease defense and weaken. The reason you want this first is because this doubles your damage automatically. Once you drop that defense by 60%, and then you sit down and you have that 25% weaken on something, it will sit down and 2x the damage that your nuker is doing. That's an incredible amount. And it 2x's the damage that everybody's doing, even not the nukers, but just anybody. All 5 guys are getting 2x damage because of this one character. There are only a few that have decreased defense and weaken all on the same turn, on the same skill. She has it. Bellinor has it. I was really hoping Bellinor, I pulled him. I got lucky. He is a legendary void. But he doesn't have the poison. He actually does less damage than she does. Now, the other thing that she does, she poisons 2 times and then she decreases the attack. So she has all of the debuffs that you're wanting for clan boss. You want that decreased attack. And the poisons, of course, it's just going to do you, they're 40k worth of damage each one. So you're getting 80k a turn because you're going to sit down. And the one thing you need to do is you need to get her speed up. Now she's a little bit slow. She's at 139 right now, but with Arbiter doing that 30% boost a lot, she actually keeps her in line because of that, because that turn meter is being boosted 30%. If you don't, you need to get up to, for Nightmare and stuff, you need to get up to about 242. If you're not using anybody to boost that speed or turn meter. But the stalwart gear is going to cut off 30% of the damage. So you've sat down and you've applied a decreased attack. Well, that's 50% of the damage that you're not going to receive. Now, that's from every attack. I don't care if it's the AoEs, I don't care if it's a stun, it's 50% less damage for that. Once that's up. and it's up all the time between Arbiter and her speed. Now, usually I try to get her speed up to like 254 because that way if Arbiter's dead, it still will always cycle through that it's always up. I don't need that anymore because I don't worry about that as much anymore because I have, like I said, Warcaller in the team, and Warcaller does exactly the same thing with that decreased attack and decreased crit damage. And Warcaller speed is at 253. So he's in line to do all of that. Usually Warcaller is the last one to drop. It's so tanky. I mean, you're looking at 73k worth of HP. You're looking at 3,600 defense, and you're looking at the fact that he has a strengthen buff on himself all the time. So, I mean, she is really, really good. I mean, so I don't have to worry about that. I didn't worry about her speed as much. But if you're not using Arbiter and you're wanting to look at like doing Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, you have to get it up. So, like when you're looking at the calculator for Nightmare, his speed is 170. So you've got to have it on a 3-to-2 ratio. So you have to have it 3 times that, and so you have to divide it by 2. So you need 255 speed is what you need if nobody's boosting your turn meter, and that's what you're going to have. So on the Ultra Nightmare, I think the speed is 190, so you need 285. And that's without anybody boosting their turn meter. And of course, if somebody is boosting up your speed by 30%, but remember that's on your base stats. So, but that would make it easier to attain too. But still, with that 30% turn meter, she usually stays in line. Now, the reason I usually use stalwart gear on a lot of my characters and it's like when you look, like, you see there's stalwart gear on here. It's because it's 30% less damage from the AoE attacks. The clan boss does 2 AoE attacks, okay? So you've got 2 times that you're going to get 30% less attack. Plus you've already got a 50% decrease attack up. Plus you've got an allied protect up with 50%. And it doesn't stack, 50 and 50 and 30 and like that, and you get negative damage. It's not going to do that. But, you're getting 50% on one and then 50% of the other one, and then the 30% from that. So you're getting a lot less damage, from the clan boss. That's the reason you can go so long. I mean, that's the reason, like on Nightmare, I do 55, 56 rounds, where most people, they're drop dead way before that because you're keeping that decreased attack up. You got that allied protect, and you got stalwart gear on. Now, she has, like I said, the absolute best set that you can have for the clan boss. You want to poison the clan boss. You want to decrease his defense. You want to weaken. You want to decrease the attack. That keeps you alive. Now, I went down. I took the defensive line in. This is pretty much a standard defense and a standard offensive line in. As far as her gear, she's got a defensive piece on. She's squishy. She hits like a truck. One target. She hits really, really hard. If you go in here and you max out her crit rate, which, like I said, Bad Al's in the lead, so she's got 81% crit rate. She's got, what is that, 206 crit damage, which is not great, but it's good. She's got 277 accuracy because you want those debuffs to stick. She's got, her defense is only 727 base. That's the reason she's only got 13,710 HP. That's the reason she's so squishy. So the best thing to do is put as much defense and HP on her as you can get because she doesn't have much. Now, the accuracy banners here, the crit damage, and then I've got the one to turn the crit into normal. I probably would replace this with a I've got one of the rings I probably need to replace to give her a shield, because she does do a lot of damage even the way she's built right now. And that shield will be pretty big for her, and it keep her alive a little bit better. But that's what you're looking for her. All right. So the final one is Ninja, and if you didn't play when Ninja come out, I'm sorry. He is absolutely one of the best 8 damage dealers in the game. I mean, there's hardly anybody that can damage the way he does. Now, I put Relentless on him, and he's not real tanky. So you have to remember, you're relying on the Allied Protect, and you're relying on the heals. You're relying on Arbiter to get him up, because like around 30 or so, he may go down because he may be out of that Allied Protect because he has a Relentless on, and and he may get hit, and he may go down. But Arbiter's there to pick him back up too. Now, he's not ever usually the sun target. Let's look at his skills. Okay, he does that freeze, he does that cry and slash. This thing does a lot of damage, as you saw in the last video. This does a tremendous amount of damage. He gets like 100, he hits 3 times, he gets like 129, 130 once he gets going per hit. So you're looking at 400,000. And then he has that's the crit damage part, and the stuff below is like 69, 70,000 for the 3 hits. So that's another 200,000. So you're looking at like 600, 700,000 points. Usually he does with 1 hit. Now the reason is because Arbiter's in there too, and she's increasing the attack rate too. Which you're going to get 50% more because Arbiter's in there with that, keeping that increased attack up all the time. The other one, he drops the defense, but you've already got that from Thagan anyway. But in case she's stunned or whatever, he doesn't have but a 60% chance of placing that. But still, it helps. It's a backup. And so this hit, a lot of times, will do 300,000 points worth of damage once he gets going because of this passive here. And this is the reason you want Relentless on him, because it increases Ninja's attack by 10% up to 100%, and the crit rate goes up the crit damage goes up by 25%. So that tells you that crit damage 25% is equal to 100% extra attack, because that's about what it is. Because crit damage scales really good. Each time a single enemy is hit by all 3 of Ninja's active skills in a single round. There are a lot of times that he will go through and he'll cycle through, because he'll hit like at the beginning, he's fast enough, he hits again, and plus he gets that extra hit in. So he gets to go through, and he's gonna get this multiplier up really quick. Now, when they're talking about a round, they're talking about like a dungeon round. So, and there's only 1 round in clan boss. But like in a dungeon, he has, he's talking about this goes up like in each round of each wave. So when fighting bosses, will increase ninjas by 20%, attack up to 100%, and the crit damage goes up by 10, up to 25% instead. So it goes up even quicker against clan boss. And he does cycle through. I mean, there are sometimes he gets, 2, 3, 4 hits in. Now, when he throws the burn, he also gets a perfect veil. Now, perfect veil will keep off 15% damage. So you're stacked up on him an allied protect, which is going to lessen damage by 50%. Decreased attack, which is 50%. Perfect veil, which is 15%. So you keep stack, and then you got that's the reason there's no stalwart gear on him, because instead of the 30% from the stalwart gear, he's usually under perfect veil. There's very few times he's not, because he's so fast, and he's at 196. He should be faster, but I got 100% crit rate because I want 100% crit rate on him because I want the most damage I can get out of him. And he's got 242 crit damage. He's got accuracy of 330, which is plenty for clan balls. And his attack is over 4,000. His defense is only what, about 2,400. His HP is over 40K. So he's not super squishy, but he's not one of the tankiest ones in the world. But it keeps him alive, and he usually stays in a long time, especially unless he runs out of that ally protect. But that's the breakdown of all of his skills. These are his masteries. If it'll pop up. Like I said, I get the extra accuracy, the extra accuracy again, and then I get the Lords of Steel. I usually take that. That's a great skill, 15% to the base stats. And he has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuffs. Now, so it extends the burns. It has a chance to extend the freeze. You can't freeze the clan boss, but you can burn him. And then, of course, he's got the typical line going down to War Master. And then, of course, he has an increased speed by 6 for each enemy killed. This doesn't help there, but it increased the damage inflicted to the target with stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, and petrification debuffs by 12%. And it doesn't help there because you can't do any of that to the clan boss. But it helps, and like Doom Tower, where I use him there a lot. But those are the breakdown of the masteries of all 5 of the guys that use, and you don't have to use all these same guys. There are people that you can substitute. It's hard to swap out Ninja. He does so much damage. But the thing that you can swap out for like Warcaller is Taragi the Frog. And I used to use Taragi. Taragi is a great champion. You don't have to have exactly the same champion. But like Taragi, you just make sure that his thing, he has the thing where he throws the ally protect, the shield, and the reflect damage. The shield and the reflect damage go on himself, and the ally protect goes on the other one. Now, he is an excellent, excellent champ, and this heals itself. I use him mostly nowadays in Scarab King and Doom Tower since I got Warcaller up and booked out. But he is great for even clan boss. I used him for a long time. I did really well, not as well as when I got Warcaller booked out, but still, he's good. And you have to be careful, and it's all about the timing, because you have to time him so that he's up with the clan boss. And then what you have to do is you have to make sure that skill is it's 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Okay. For the allied protect. So you want to make sure that all that's up during you want to make sure that all this is up during the set that has everything but the stun. And the stun target is going to take a whole lot of damage, but what you try to do is find somebody that blocks the debuff, a champ that you put in there with it. And there's a lot of ways of building a clan boss team. There really are. And I fooled around with a bunch of them. I got this one set where I could 1-key Nightmare, 2-key Ultra Nightmare, and I said I'm not fooling with it. And it's gotten a little bit better, but the reason it's got better is because I've got my Great Hall up. And trust me, over the last year, I have fought Great Hall till I'm sick of Great Hall. I'm sick of Arena. I don't want to, whenever I get my Great Hall maxed out, I might do my 5 for the dailies, and after that, I'm not doing anything because I am tired of running Arena. I run 39, 40 arenas every day. And, and I win most of them. And, and you have to do that to get this up. Now, the first year, as everybody knows, like a year ago, until they fixed this, it was absolutely horrible to get up into gold 4, gold 5. You couldn't hardly get out of bronze. So for about a year, I sit down and I didn't get anywhere with a Great Hall. They tried to fix it at one point. They reset everything. It lasted about a month. And it was back into the same old thing again. And they finally fixed it where it works right. As long as they do not touch this, I would be happy. Because, I could finally, in another year or so, get this out. Because I'm not even quite halfway right yet now. So, it looks nice to have all that gold stuff up. But you got to realize, most of you look at this, and there's hardly any gold bars between here and here. The gold bars come in when you're doing these last other ones. There's 2,700 more gold bars. Go from 7 to 10. Whereas all this together is not that many gold bars. It's half of this. So anyway, so that's the only thing that's improved. I haven't changed this team at all. I haven't changed this gear in almost a year. I haven't done hardly anything to it because, if you're one key in Nightmare and two key in Ultra Nightmare, you're getting all the goodies that you want anyway, because that's where the sacred shards are. There's where the Lego books are. There are not anything else in the other ones to really care about. And I mean, that's the only place you can really get Lego books anyway. So anyway, that's my clan boss team. That's the breakdown of their gear. That's, the masteries. And that's what I run to get all those points in one kit and two kit. But anyway, guys, remember to subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. If you got questions, I'm more than happy to answer. And everybody have a really good day.